I still blink in the sunset. You know I never wanna make you upset. How did I become so obsessed with this?
Bonjour mes amis, this is Coletta. Bonjour, Sarah. I'm hoping that you guys are all having a great day today. This is going to be my new series that I've started, and it's all going to be about living and traveling abroad, everything to do with travel. But the main aspect is going to concentrate a lot on traveling for work, or be it for if you want to start, if you're thinking about going to study abroad. That's kind of the scope that I'm going to be going for. So if you don't know, I currently live in Paris, and I've been living in France for I think almost 2 years now. I came here on a study visa, and I've been studying, and now I'm working in a bank, in one of the big banks in Europe. A background in finance. That's kind of the route that I took when I was I'm South African. So when I was in South Africa, that's what I studied, and I continued that with an MBA abroad. So I think I have enough information to kind of help young individuals, or even old, even if you're 50, if you decide that you want to take the leap now. I mean, it's never too late. So honestly, I'm just here to if anything, just to give people some encouragement, and also just to give you the type of advice that I wish I was given when I came here. Because basically moving abroad is a lot, physically, and in terms of stress, it's a lot. So you need to just be ready for the process, for what's to come. And I don't think I was as prepared as I could have been. So that's why I'm here today, to just help people who are thinking of taking that big step into moving abroad or studying abroad. So it's gonna be a few episodes on the whole process. I don't want to miss out on a lot, so I want to really delve into what's important, what you should know before you leave, and if this is the right thing for you. And today, that's going to be my main mission, is to start from scratch, from the beginning, in regards to what you should know before you decide to move abroad. And based on that, you'll be able to decide if this is something you actually want to do, or maybe just hold off for a minute because you might not be ready for it. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a scary move, but it's an enjoyable move. Like, it's one of the best experiences you'll have in your life. But like I said, you just need to be ready for whatever is to come. So make sure that even if it is a scary idea, that you are able to overcome that fear that you might have. If you have that personality, then living abroad is definitely something you should consider. So the first thing I really want to talk to you about is change. Be able to mentally understand that you are going to change a lot. Not just yourself, but the environment that you're going to be is going to be completely different from what you are used to. Every country has its own way of doing things, and you need to understand that. I've traveled a lot, and in every country I'm there like, whoa, okay, that's interesting. Well, that's the whole idea with traveling and seeing the world, is that you learn a lot about other people and other cultures. And I'm going to tell you that even if you think you live in a Western country or you have Western philosophies, there's so many differences between what life in let's say France, and in Germany, or in Prague, or let's say in England. It's completely different. So every country has its own way of doing things, and you need to be mentally ready to understand that there's going to be a lot of change coming your way. Change from the way you live, change from the type of people you interact with. Just culturally, be ready to mentally put it in your head that I must be open and willing to be flexible for change, because that's going to be the most important thing that you're going to need in this process of you deciding to live or move abroad. So change, being mentally ready for that is one thing I really truly think you need to think about. Sit down and think, am I that type of person who can handle change? Do I handle it well? If you are, then best believe, I think traveling abroad or living abroad might be one of the best experiences for you. But if you're not, just make sure that you are open to it and willing to bring it into your life, because there's going to be a lot of it. There's going to be a lot of change. Second points that I'd really like to point out is that you need to realize that you're going to be a foreigner. Straight up. You're going to be a foreigner. You are not in your home country anymore. So there's going to be a lot of bureaucratic red tape that you need to just get yourself through. So just be aware of that you're going to have to visit in France is the prefecture, where you go and you deal with foreign affairs, whatever it is, because from your visa to your there's so many documentations that you need. There's so many bureaucratic lines that you have to cross. So admin is going to be part of your life as a foreigner. You can't just be like, as Africa, I think I just had my ID and my driver's license and that was good. But with a foreign visa, you have to, it changes. It's not a set state. And when you come in with a student visa, it's even more complicated because you have to renew it on a yearly basis, and you have to do some tests sometimes that before you even approved of that visa. So I'm just trying to let you know that wherever you do decide to move to, be ready that you're going to be known as a foreigner, and you're going to have to go through the red tape that comes with being a foreigner. So as long as you are admin ready, which was one of the worst things that I was not ready for. I did not know it was that hectic. I thought the process of me actually signing up and getting my visa was like, okay, I'm good. Oh no, I was not ready until I actually got to Europe, and wow, it was a lot. But luckily I have great friends who are actually very, on point with this stuff, and I don't know how I made it through, but I did, on the grace of their help, and like the Lord just like, oh gosh, my girl needs to make it through. I've so far not been kicked out of the country yet. And also, okay, the third point I really want to point out is, if you're not a person who is outgoing and willing to meet new people and experience different types of people, traveling abroad and living abroad might be a scary thought to you, because you're gonna currently at home, you have your friends, you've grown up with them perhaps, or you've met them through your life experiences. If you now move to another country, you know nobody. Most of the time anyway, like nobody. For me, I didn't know anybody. Absolutely nobody. Besides, no, actually, I didn't even know I actually was living with family friends, but I didn't know them like that well at that time. But luckily for me, I had that support system. But some people come here completely alone, and you have to start from scratch. So what I'm trying to say is that there's going to be times that you're going to be lonely in the beginning, where you feel like, did I make the right decision? Is this the best thing for me to have done? When you're like thinking, at home I was quite comfortable. I had my friends, I had my life, I could go out with my friends, I could call them up and be like, let's go do this. So it was great, right? But when you live abroad, you don't know nobody, and you have to create the community that becomes your friends, the people that you call your friends, your family. So if you're not a person who's going to proactively look for people and meet people, you're going to continuously be lonely, because I think we're at the age where, me specifically, where most of the people already have their friends and they already know who they like to chill with. They're not going to necessarily go out and be outgoing to meet new people. We're not at that age. Maybe when you're 17, it's okay to do that. But right now at this age, it's not a thing. So what I'm trying to say is, you need to be proactively open to meeting people and putting yourself out there for people. So, for example, when I first got here, I was really involved in a lot of these online meetups, where it was an application where you can actually go and meet people based on similarities that or hobbies that you guys might have in common. And in those situations there, you'll actually meet people and you'll interact with people and you'll make friends. As well as not only putting proactive work into that, it's also important to, when you at work, if you're starting to work here, if you got a job here, that you proactively make friends with your colleagues, and because they will help you to create that community here that you have, as well as help you meet other people. And for me as well, it was a great privilege, because I came here to study and I had amazing classmates, so I'm still friends with a lot of them and we still meet up. But I have my core friends as well, who I made through my university studies, and they're like my BFFs, like my ride or dies. So I was luckily able to do that. But I also have people that I've met through my interactions of going out and meeting people, and just being open to the idea that nobody knows you and you gotta make friends. So what I'm trying to say is that if you know you're not a person who's a bit if you're a person who's a bit shy, or is not really open to just speaking out and meeting new people you've never known or never met, just make sure that you are okay with the idea that you might be then lonely for a long time. I'm not saying forever. Maybe in the process of living abroad you'll figure out a way to meet people. But if you're not proactively looking, people are not going to come to you. It's not how it is. It's not how it is in any country, because, like I said, people already have their cliques. They already have their groups of friends that they chilled with. So you coming in is not going to change that. You need to come in and be like, hey, I'm here. I'm different. Let's be friends. That type of thing. So you need to just generally be open to making friends in that way. Another factor, or what would be the fourth factor, is that you need to understand that it's going to be a completely different lifestyle. Completely different. Like I said in the beginning, for example, for me, in South Africa, we have a lot of space. And in Europe, space is not a thing. Okay, space is really expensive. Like, people live in cardboard boxes because there's not enough space. So it was a really huge change for me to come to a space where, wow, okay, so I have to calculate the square meters of my apartment. What is that? In South Africa, it's like, okay, it's okay, it looks nice, because we know generally there's enough space for you to live, or if you're looking for an apartment, it's not going to be tiny. The apartments here, some of the apartments, you actually need to share bathrooms with other people, because the apartment itself is so small that it cannot house a bathroom. So you just need to be aware of those changes. And I'm talking about normal people living in normal apartments. It's like people who are working live in tiny apartments, because Europe is so expensive in terms of living space. It's every little tiny space that is available is converted and made into somewhere that somebody can live. So you need to just be aware that your lifestyle is going to change in that factor, as well as things like food. I think I come from a country which is quite westernized, but I never knew I was going to be eating so many baguettes and croissants in my life. I think I eat one like every day, at least a croissant anyway. So like, these are things that I never used to do. In South Africa, I would never eat a baguette, like maybe unless I'm going on a picnic or something. But here in France, everybody does it. It's what's done. Yeah, if you're gonna have breakfast, it's gonna be coffee and a croissant. Like, that's it. You're not good. It's just a difference. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different way of life. So you need to just be aware that you're gonna change your way you eat. You're gonna change the way you live. You're gonna change the way you probably dress, even, because in Europe it's not gonna be the same as maybe in America and the way they dress. And you kind of feel, I'm not saying you would conform, but you want to somewhat feel like a local when you live here. So a lot of that is also going to change. So I'm just trying to make you realize that a lot is going to change in your life. I used to drive in South Africa everywhere I went, like even to go to the shops, I used to drive. But now I take the trains everywhere, and it's amazing. I love it. I don't have a car. I don't have to worry about petrol. I just, thing, and it's great. But for some people that might be an issue. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to sit in trains and around people. For me, it's great. I love that lifestyle, that type of lifestyle. So what I'm trying to say is, do your research on the country that you're going to and understand what the differences between your country and the country that you want to go to are, so that you go in there knowing fully well that the main lifestyle changes that are going to be coming your way, and how to deal, if you're ready to deal with them. So just be aware that your lifestyle is going to change completely from the way it was before, and you need to be open to that. So that's a factor to take into consideration. And a more juicy one would be the dating scene. Yeah. We all know that if you're not that type of person who's interested in that whole, speed dating, all those weird things that we have, technology to meet people, it's going to be a very difficult situation for you. So what I'm trying to say is, even when you do get into a relationship abroad, it's not going to be the same as maybe the type of people you've dated before. Like, for example, I've noticed here in Europe, people here, as soon as you maybe kiss, like the first kiss, that's like you guys are dating now. Like, that's your person. Like, that's it. Like, you guys are together. There's no such thing as, oh my gosh, you just made out. It was just a fun night and we just kissed. No, that's your boyfriend. Okay? That person's gonna come to your house and be like, babe, what's the plan? That type of life. So just be aware that things are different. So, I mean, in another country, of maybe in South Africa, I know for myself, like, you could kiss somebody and maybe it's just what it is. It ends there. But in Europe, specifically if we say France, there's differences in the way we date. And also the way that you go about dating, and your differences will come into play in terms of language differences. In France you speak French, so there's a lot of things that are gonna be confusing in the beginning. But I mean, it is. I personally have had a relationship here, and it was a good experience. I mean, at the end it didn't end up that well, but like, what I'm trying to say is that it wasn't a horrible experience, and it was just, it's important to just know that we're different and that we all come from, whenever you come to a different country, the person doesn't know you, doesn't know your past, doesn't know anything about your country most of the time. So you just be aware that even dating, something small as dating, is going to be a big change. There's going to be a lot of things that you guys need to get used to about one another, and the way that people date in that specific country. So if you're not a person who's like open to that either, yeah, just think about these things. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should stop and not go study abroad. I'm just trying to let you know what you should be looking at before you even make that decision that, okay, I'm going to do this. Finally, the most important thing in my opinion is to understand that if you're not a person who's independent, who can do things for themselves, who still maybe has their mother bring their dinner or wash their laundry or pay their bills, or like anybody else do stuff for you, then maybe living abroad might not be for you. Because if you're coming from a country and you're coming alone, you're gonna have to be independent and do things yourself. You're gonna have to learn to be your own person. You're gonna have to learn how to pay bills. You're gonna have to learn where to pay bills, what's the processes. I mean, like I said here, it's I had to learn how to get somebody to come in and turn on my electricity or something of the sort. Things like that, small things like that. You're gonna have to learn how to do. You're gonna learn that maybe posting is how you do things here for any form of expenses that you might have to pay, like bills or what have you. So it's important to be a person who is independent already. For me, I've been planning this my whole life, living abroad. So I went to boarding school to try and make myself more independent, small things like that. But what I'm trying to say is that I've generally always been an independent person, and so therefore when it came to me living abroad, it wasn't so much of a my gosh, I have to wash my laundry, I have to cook, I've been doing those types of things for a while. So if you're a person who's not that type of person, whose mommy still might do their laundry, maybe before you decide to leave, maybe start learning how to do your own laundry. because it's really going to be important to understand that you're alone. Nobody's going to do anything for you. Nobody's going to baby you. Nobody's going to tell you, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. If you don't do this, you could get kicked out of your apartment if you don't pay your rent. And then you're stuck in the streets in Europe or in America, or I don't know, in South America. Like, you need to be that person who's open to the fact that you need to be independent, and on top of your independence, you need to be on top of things, and make sure that you don't let things, like, leave things to the last minute. Because when you're in another country, it's even more imperative, because they're looking at you, they're scrutinizing you from the minute you got off the plane. So if you make silly mistakes, unnecessary mistakes, by like not paying off bills and then creating a huge amount of debts, or I don't know what it is, then you're probably not the right person to be moving abroad. So ultimately, all in all, those are my tips, essential tips that I think you should think about before you decide to even think about moving abroad or living and studying abroad. Because if you don't have those aspects of your life are locked down in somewhat way, it's going to be very difficult for it to happen. So you need to think about these aspects of yourself, think about yourself, and think if this is who you really could be, or are you this person already? And if you're already that person, great. Then we need to make the jump. You are ready to make that jump, because those are the most essential aspects of living abroad or thinking about living abroad. You need to be able to get those on point. And if you do, best believe the sky's the limit and you can live anywhere and everywhere. So guys, that was my first episode on the series about living and studying abroad. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to make more content. The next episode will probably be more specific about, I want to start off with studying abroad, because that's something I know a lot of because I did it, and what to do, some tips, and just the process that is required if you are thinking about it, and if you're thinking of living or studying abroad. These are the be on top of. And I'm going to be quite specific in terms of, I'm not just here to just give you an airy-fairy idea. I want you to be ready for everything. I want you to be ready for your mental space to your actual physical paperwork, bureaucratic aspects of living and studying abroad, to finding a job and what is going to happen, how you need to do it, and how you go about it. So if you are interested in that type of content, please like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support, and I look forward to teaching you more and giving you my perspective of how I have lived abroad and what advice I can give to you guys from having experienced it. So thank you so much. Hope to see you guys soon. Bisous. Bye.